Welcome everyone. My name is Houssam Ahmed Amin BAHI. I'm PhD researcher at BOUSSAHA University. Today I will present the work entitled Confidence Aware Intelligent Assistance for Reliable Student Support in Massive Open Online Courses. This research was conducted under the supervision of Dr. Karima BOUSSAHA and Professor Zakaria LABOUDI, all of us in the University of al Bouaqi, Algeria. Now, I will give you the main idea behind this work before diving into the slides. So basically what we have is intelligent educational assistants should not only provide answers. They can all provide answers as you all know, like language models and so on, but they also should estimate whether those answers are sufficiently supported and trustworthy or not. So basically, they give us the answer, they appear to be so sure of it, but we don't know if they are reliable or not. In many existence systems, and most of them, the answer is presented with the same level of certainty, regardless of whether the system has strong evidence or weak one. So this is the issue, and our proposed approach addresses this limitation by adding a confidence estimation mechanism or layer to the educational assistant. The system will retrieve educational evidence, estimate how strongly the available evidence support the answer, or let's say the user query, and it will react differently depending on the confidence calculated. Now, basically, we'll have in this paper the introduction. After that, we will see research questions, hypotheses, and so on. The problem statement, of course. After that, the state of the art. Then we will dive into the core paper, methodology, then preliminary results. Of course, they are just preliminary since this is not the full work yet. It is in progress. And then we'll finish by a conclusion and future work. Now coming to the conclusion, the introduction, apologies. Now massive open online courses, or commonly known as MOOCs, have made education accessible to a very large number of learners, or let's say democratized even learning. Students can access lectures, reading, exercises, assessment, discussion forums from any place and any time, basically. However, since we have a large scale of MOOCs, a lot of them, thousands or maybe even more of learners participate in the same course, while the number of instructors, teachers, and the assistants remain limited. So we can't cover the needs of the learners using human interactions alone. So basically, intelligent assistants can help us address this problem by providing immediate academic support. They can answer questions, explain concepts, recommend learning materials, guide learners through course content, be the teacher itself. However, there is some problem. Availability alone is not enough. An assistant can answer quickly, they can provide really fast answer, but they can also provide incorrect or unsupported information. They can, at the end, they can cause or create more problems than it can solve. And for this reason, reliability, trustworthiness should be as important or maybe even more important than accuracy. A useful assistant should provide correct information when possible, but it should also recognize situations in which the available evidence is insufficient. The problem statement. So, what we can say that the problem addressed in this work is that the education assistants they always attempt to answer every questions. They will produce a response when the question is even unclear or outside the available course materials or even weakly related to the retrieved evidence. So basically they create several risks. The first risk is that the incorrect guidance. A student may follow an accurate explanation and develop an inaccurate or false understanding of the course topic, which is so dangerous. The second risk is hallucination, hallucinated responses. A generative model may produce information that sounds reasonable. The way they answer, since they are sophisticated in language generation and so on, they can appear to be very sure of the answer, but in reality, the answer is not really supported. The third risk is student confusion. When an answer conflicts with the lectures or textbook or instructor explanations, now the learner here may not know which source to trust, will cause a lot of issues, a lack of trust in the platform and so on, in the systems, and this will lead us to the fourth risk, which is the reduced trust. And of course, when students repeatedly receive unreliable answers, they will stop using the assistant even when it can provide really useful information, and this may cause the student to drop out. The research gap. Now, existing education conversation systems usually focus on two main components. The first one is retrieval, which is very common phase and step. The system will search in educational resources to identify passages that are related to the learner, questions, or query. The second component is the response generation. After the retrieval, the language model uses those retrieved passages or documents to formulate a natural language answer. These components are important, of course. We need them always, but they do not fully address reliability. Many or most existing systems do not include an explicit mechanism for estimating confidence. They retrieve information, they generate the response, present it to the learner without clearly evaluating or assessing how strongly the retrieved resources support that response, or the learning query, and so on. Now, this will create a gap between producing an answer and assessing the trustworthiness. A system may retrieve a highly relevant passage that directly answers the questions. In this situation, the response can reasonably be treated as high confidence. In another situation, the retrieved documents may be only indirectly related to the questions, and the assistants may still generate a fluent answer. But the answer should not be presented with the same certainty, of course. So, the central research gap is therefore the limited attention given to confidence, reliability, and certainty communications in educational assistance. Our position is that an educational assistant should know when the available evidence is strong and when it is weak. More importantly, it should communicate that to the learner himself. Coming to the research questions. First, how can retrieval similarity estimate response confidence? Secondly, can confidence estimations improve educational assistance? And finally, can a lightweight architecture provide reliable conversational support? Now, the last question is important, so important, because education platform may have limited computational resources. So, of course, we need or we prefer to have lightweight architecture. Together, all these three questions examine feasibility, educational value, and computational practicality. The literature review. Now, this literature or the literature relevant to this study covers several connected areas. The first area, we have basically four areas or four parts in the literature review. The first part of the first area is intelligent tutoring systems, the ETS, and educational conversational agents. These systems aim to provide explanation, feedback, and support the learner. Many studies report the benefits from using them, such as immediate availability, scalable assistance, and increased learner engagement. However, these earlier systems often depend on predefined rules or limited knowledge bases, so they are not really sophisticated or exactly provide what we need. Now, the second area, what are they? They present the large language models. These systems can generate natural, flexible responses, as you all know, but they may also produce unsupported or incorrect information, and they really suffer from hallucinations. Their fluency can make unreliable answers appear convincing. This is a really big issue. Because of the fluency, you may be led to believe that this is a really confident and correct answer. And the third area is using the RAG, Retrieved Augmented Generation. Retrieved augmented systems attempt to ground answers in external documents. Instead of relying entirely on the language models' internal knowledge, the system retrieve relevance passages and use them during generation. This, of course, will improve factual grounding. But we still have the same problem. Retrieval does not guarantee correctness. If the retrieved passage is weakly related to the questions, we have the same issue. The generated answer may still be unreliable. The final area is uncertainty and confidence estimation. Now, in machine learning, confidence can be estimated using the model probability. We also may use predictive distribution, calibrations, ensemble, similarity-based signals. However, many of these approaches they really costly, computationally demanding, or difficult to implement and integrate into a real-life education system, which is the goal. So our work explore lightweight alternative that is based on semantic retrieval similarity. Now, theoretical framework, confidence-aware, conversation assistant for mocks. So basically what we have here is the student query. The learner will ask a questions, then the conversational agent will understand the questions and prepare it for retrieval. Then we will use or search the database or knowledge base and retrieve the evidence and documents needed. We'll have a classification of the top K educational resources needed. After that, we'll calculate the similarity score between the questions and the retrieved resources, and then we will use it to calculate what we really the paper is about, which is the confidence estimation or the confidence score. Now we have two cases. We have maybe high confidence, then the answer will be provided with maybe another message that is reliable and so on. And we have a low confidence answer, and here the a warning will be triggered. Maybe other mechanism, prevention intervention mechanisms such as providing as other resources or maybe even escalate to human intervention. Now, basically, this is a summary. First, we'll have similarity, then the confidence score, and after that, the decision. The confidence score will be between 0 and 1. The higher it means high confidence, the lower it means weak evidence and low confidence. And after that, it will trigger a warning, external resources, and other maybe like we said before, escalation to human interventions and so on. Now, the preliminary results, as we said before, there are two main parts. First, the retrieval, and secondly, calculating or estimating the confidence score based on the similarity score. So, first, the retrieval. Before estimating response confidence, of course, we retrieve the retrieval module was evaluated. We used many retrieval techniques such as TF-EDF, BG small, and others. We found that BG small embedding model achieved the strongest performance, making it the most suitable backbone for the proposed framework. Now coming to the confidence estimation module, they will compute a confidence score from the semantic similarity score between the student query, of course, and the retrieved evidence or resources. High confidence, like we said, high confidence responses are presented directly. Low confidence responses will trigger warning, recommended additional learning materials, and other steps. And this also will include what exactly will you provide or will you do when you have low confidence responses. This also will treat it in the full paper and also in the future work. The current status, the confidence estimation mechanism has been implemented, but the evaluation is currently in progress. Conclusion: the proposed assistance retrieve educational resources, it estimates confidence, it warns the learner when confidence is low, which is so important, it is lightweight and can be implemented, improves trust, and supports reliable automated assistance. Thank you all for listening. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate. Thank you.